So today I invited Miss Pavitira Mano, betul ke?
Ya, betul
Betul
betul.
lah. Right. So sebenarnya alumni from UMK sendirilah. So she did her undergraduate UMK. You graduated in
17.
2017.
Ya.
Okay. So Pavi is recipient for GPA scholarship. So she did her, sebab masa tu UMK belum ada program masters, and she
Ya.
is a Pinax, orang Penang.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Tak ada dekat dalam chat ke? Google Form? Tak nampak ke? Tak apa, saya share sekali lagi. Ha. Okay. So she did her masters in University Science Malaysia (USM), and then now she's continuing her PhD on the same research area lah. Okay. So saya jemput Miss Favi so that she can provide you with support, more like at least knowledge lah kan, sebab kadang kita bila nak buat apa-apa kita cari knowledge information tu yang agak takes time untuk buat masters dekat Malaysia. IPTA we have about 20 IPTAs. So
Yes.
bila you nak go through postgraduate program, maksudnya probably now ada lebih kurang, katakan satu universiti offer lebih kurang two research program, satu by coursework, satu
Ya.
by research. So
Yes.
we have at least 40 master program available dekat Malaysia ni.
Right.
Kan? So at least she can give her experience kan, she
Ya.
boleh share with her experience, so that kalau you rasa tak clear ke whatever, you can ask her along the way the questions. Okay.
Ya.
So take the opportunity untuk tanya. Jarang-jarang saya jemput alumni UMK sendiri bagi bagi talk kan, sebab kita punya alumni kadang-kadang hilang-hilang terus. This is one of the person yang selalu keep in touch lah kan.
Ya.
So attendance jawab dalam Google Form ada Google Form saya post dekat dalam chat, so please fill in the Google Form, right? Okay, Pavit, you would you like to start?
Yeah, okay. I'll just share my screen first, okay?
I already share. Can you see the slide? Tak boleh Tak apa. Jap, I share.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You presenting. Okay. Saya pun
Is it
tengah share.
okay if I share?
Yeah. Go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
1 minute. Boleh nampak ke? Can it be seen, doctor?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so a very good morning to Dr. Alia and all. Thank you very much for inviting me today. So today's talk is it's going to be about postgraduate study, the pros and cons, okay? So before I start, I'd just like to give a brief introduction. My name is Pavitira Manogaran, and I completed my degree in hospitality entrepreneurship in UMK somewhere in 2017. And then I continued to do my master's in business administration in USM, graduated that in 2019, and I'm currently doing my PhD, Doctor of Philosophy in USM as well. Okay, so I'll just dive deep into our topic today. Okay, so the first thing you would want to, when we speak about postgraduate study, and now that you guys are undergraduate, you will be graduating soon. The first question that you have to ask yourself, do you want to work or do you want to study? You have to decide between these two, It's either you work, you study, or you can do both, okay? But before you decide this, there are three things to look at it, okay? Okay, so the first thing is, before you want to do a postgraduate study, ask yourself, why do you want to do a postgraduate study? Is it for self-development, or do you want to gain knowledge, or is for a job requirement that, you would want to go into? If these are the three things, then the postgraduate study is probably for you. However, if your idea of, after undergraduate is just to make money, to gain experience, then maybe you should reconsider. You should go into the industry first, not for your postgraduate study, okay? And then the second thing would be money. You have to question yourself, do you have a funding for your postgraduate study? Do you have a scholarship? Do you have a grant? If you do, then it's fine. Or are you going to take a loan? However, if you're taking a loan, and then you have to, pay back, right? So if these two things, you have a funding secured for your postgraduate study, then postgraduate study is for you. But if you're going to pay yourself, okay, you are working, you're not working and you have to pay yourself, you would probably need your parents' support. And then this is something to consider, which I will go deeply into later. And finally, where do you see yourself in the next 10 to 15 years? Do you want to land a career in academia or industry? Okay. So ask these three questions to yourself before you want to do a postgraduate study. If whatever I said in the black marks, okay, that is something that you want to do, then postgraduate study is for you. But whatever I say in the red marks, if if that is what you feel it is, maybe you should reconsider. Okay. So is it possible? Is it possible to actually work and study? I've seen people who work and study. I have colleagues who work and study, so I would say it's not possible. It is possible. However, it comes with, its consequences. First, if you study, you work and study, what is going to be easy is that it's going to be easy to fund your studies. You work, you have your income coming in, and then you get to fund your studies. You have the money to fund your studies. But if the other thing would be if you're working and you're studying at the same time, whatever that you gain, your experience that you gain from your work, you can change it to good research insights, or whatever research that you're doing, probably you can give good insights to your work as well. But the downside here, working and studying would cause burnout. Working and studying is mostly suitable for people who, I would say those who are doing office work, people who are working 9 to 6, and then you have classes or research work at night, then that is fine. But those who, go for shift work, especially students like y'all who, are in the hospitality and tourism industry, and maybe if later you work in the hospitality industry, uh, other than the audit, the finance department, the other departments all work on shift. So it is going to be a bit difficult. It's not that it's not possible, it's just going to be a bit difficult to balance between work and study. This is where you will start to feel burnout. And when you feel burnout, it's going to stress you out. You won't be able to focus on both, because work is also stressful and study is also stressful, especially postgraduate study. you know and the other thing would be hard to cope with assignments and presentations. You're working on the weekdays and then you have your weekends, but most of your weekends you will end up spending time on your assignments, your midterm exams, your group work. So you will not have time for yourself. This is one of the disadvantage. And extending study. So most of the students who work and study at the same time, the only problem that they have is majority of them, they end up extending their studies, something that they should finish within 2 years, they end up extending to 3 or 3.5 years. It is not a problem to extend your studies. Usually postgraduate study, whether it is part-time or it is full-time, you have certain years to finish. However, the more you extend, the more you have to pay for every semester. Let's say, for example, my degree program, first semester is 3,400, and I have to finish it within 2 years. So the more I extend, I have to keep paying that 3,400 until I finish. Okay, so this is the situation if you plan to work and study. I've seen the responses that you guys gave. So 73% of you guys responded, but only 19% wanted to study, and some of you wanted to work and study. So you have to bear in mind, work and study is possible, but it comes with a lot of stress, and you need to be good at time management. Okay. So the next one, I would go into process of postgraduate. So the first thing to ask yourself, where do you want to study? And when you ask yourself this question, the most important thing that you have to consider is money and return of investment. when you're studying now, you're investing on your education, you're putting money into your education, you're hoping that this education will land you a good job. Okay, whatever that you're spending on your education, let's say you're taking a loan, you have to make sure that you have, after you start working, you will be able to pay back the loan. So return of investment is very important. The money that you're spending also is very important. So you could either study in local or you can do it abroad. But of course, in abroad, it is going to be very expensive. And in local, in the private organization, private institution, the fees is going to be also expensive, right? So four things to consider before you decide where do you want to study. First is distance from home. Right now, you guys are in UMK, and I am sure that most of you are not from Kelantan. You guys are from different states. Are you okay? Are you okay studying far from home, away from home? Because you've been away for the past 4 years, for the past three and a half years, okay? And when you're going to do your postgraduate study, some of you said that you want to do it abroad, right? So this is something to consider. Are you a type of person that you're homesick? You know, Next would be cost base. Like I said, in abroad, the cost base is going to be high because you are a foreigner, okay? And in the local, the private institutions are going also, charging higher than the local. So if you're okay to pay, you have the money to pay, then it's fine, okay? The third thing is cost availability and cost schedules. So, like I said, it depends. If you're a working person, you have to make sure that the classes offered to you are not the same time as your work. So, you need to check all this. And most importantly, check your availability. If you're going to do it abroad, of course, universities abroad, their standard is high. The government university standards are also high. So you always have to check your eligibility based on your CGPA and other requirements. And then decide where do you want to study. Okay. So once you've decided where to study, the next one would be to decide your program. So now that you guys are undergraduate, there are two things that you can do after you finish your undergraduate program. First is you could enroll into a master's program. In masters, there are three areas. First is research mode, second is mixed mode, and third is coursework. Okay. The only difference between these three is whether you want to do a thesis or you don't want to do a thesis. Okay, are you a research person or you're not a research person? Again, go back to the purpose. If you're doing a master's program, okay, uh, for the purpose of job requirement, let's say you enroll yourself into a job, you got a job, and after working there for few years, you feel like only if you get a master's program they're going to raise your salary. That's what most of the students in USM came for. In my MBA program, most of them who are working in Intel, they would come to do a master's program for their salary increment. So ask yourself, if you're just going to do it for salary increment, I highly recommend you just go for coursework, attend the classes, do the assignments, and you graduate a master degree. But if you're going to, you plan to land yourself in academia, you want to be a lecturer, you have to have some basic in research. So it is important for you to do a master's program in research mode and mixed mode. Now, the difference between research mode and mixed mode is that research mode, you entirely focus on your thesis. You have a supervisor who is going to guide you along the way. However, in mixed mode, you will be attending classes. Okay, like my MBA program was a mixed mode. So for the first year, I would attend classes. I would do all the assignments. I would go for midterm tests. I will still attend exams, like how you guys do it now. However, in the second year, I'll have to present a thesis. I'll have to do a thesis. So that is the difference. The only difference in this three master program you have to ask yourself is, do you want to do a research or not? Okay. And the other program that you may have access to is the fast track PhD program. I don't know whether you guys have heard it before, but majority, some of the universities do, have this program. USM does have it. Okay. So what happens is that when you choose to do a fast track PhD program, you automatically skip your master's, you skip a very big step, and then you enroll into your PhD program, provided you are eligible to the institution's requirement. Okay. So as you can see, I've attached a photo here. This is the USM requirement for a PhD, fast track PhD program. The applicants must have a CGPA of 3.67 and above. Okay, and then there's an interview that you need to pass and several other requirements set by the university. Now, when you skip your masters, of course, you are one step ahead of the other people who are, doing the masters. But the downside to a fast track PhD program is you lose out the foundation, the most strong foundation that is required during your PhD, which is your research. You don't have any experience doing research. You don't know the depth of a research methodology. You don't know anything. So when you enroll into a PhD program, you're completely blank, and everyone in their PhD has got some sort of experience or basic of doing a research. You don't have. This is where you're going to struggle. In worst case, if you have supervisors who will not guide you thoroughly, you're going to be very stuck. But I do have friends who graduated their fast track PhD program. It is possible. It's just that the struggle is there. This is something that you have to be aware of if you're going to skip your master's program. All right. And the next thing would be finding a supervisor. So this is mainly for those who want to do a research, who plan to do a thesis. Your research, when it comes to research, your supervisor is the backbone of your, I would say, your research, right? So you need to make sure that you get a good supervisor, a supervisor that is approachable, that is good to you, and you also have to, it's a two-way communication. So both ways have to work, right? So how do you find a supervisor? Now, before you find your supervisor, know your area of interest. I saw someone in the response, the Google form said, your interest was geography tourism, which is a good thing. You already know your area of interest. So the next thing is to find the university and the faculty that offers the area of interest. So this person said they are interested in geographic tourism, right? You have to find a university and a faculty that offers this course. Okay, once you've identified the specific university and faculty, browse through their school, their website. Okay, UMK also has got like faculty what is that, hospitality and tourism faculty. They have all the lecturers profile there. Go through the lecturers profile, browse through the lecturers profile, see their area of expertise, whether does it match your area of interest. Once you find the most suitable lecturer or all lecturers, a few of them, email them, write your intentions and clarify the lecturer's availability, because not all lecturers, different ranking lecturers, they have their own quota of students to manage. So you need to check their availability, let them know this is your area of interest, would you like to supervise me. Get in touch with a few of them, not one, go for a few, and finally decide who is the right supervisor for you. Okay, and once you've decided who your supervisor is going to be, then we come to the part where we register the program. Now, because this is registration is important, it's going to cost you some amount of money. I will highly suggest email to the postgraduate center of the institution. Let's say if you're going to do it with UMK, you're going to enroll in UMK, find the postgraduate center, okay? Email them, clarify with them. You can ask them, because you're going to pay for it. You can ask them, are you eligible? This is my criteria. This is what I have. This is my CGPA. Am I eligible for this program? Is there any necessary documents that I need to submit during the registration process? And clarify with them, just in case you never manage to get in touch with any supervisors or none of the lecturers responded to you. Check with them, because some universities, they require you to fill in a supervisor's name and they propose a research topic that you intend to do as a research student, you know so email them, clarify all your doubts, and then you register. And when you register, do it only on the official website. Don't do it through an agent. There are many education scams these days. Okay, so be on the right track. Whatever you do, do it directly with the university. Register with their official website, And usually when you register, they will charge you a certain amount of processing fee. It's usually between 70 to 150 ringgits. And this fee is not refundable. Okay. So even if you don't get into the program, okay, they're not going to refund you. If they reject your application, they're not going to refund you, which is why I'm asking you to, make sure that you have all the details before you do the registration. And like I said, certain universities, they might ask the additional details, name of your supervisor, research topic. So just make sure you have all this in hand. Okay. And the next thing would be study funding. So this is one interesting thing. Of course, education comes with a lot of money. You have to spend money. So there are four ways to deal with this. First, you get a scholarship. Okay. So what you can do is you have to check. There are a number of websites, a number of pages in Facebook, and a few channels in Telegram that they keep you posted with all the scholarships that are funded every year. Okay, so get in touch with these pages, browse through them, so that if you're eligible, you need to know when is the scholarship open, right? For example, JPA scholarship. Okay, JPA scholarship opens only once a year, and it opens only for about 2 weeks for registration. Okay, so you need to make sure that you know which dates and when are they going to open, so that you can apply, because once you missed it, you have to wait for another year, right? And sometimes certain universities, okay, depending on your qualification, let's say you have a good result in your undergraduate study and you enroll in their postgraduate program, they do have some sort of grant. They do provide certain, some universities do subsidize. So these are the things that you can email the postgraduate institute, check with them. Are there any funds? Are there any scholarships available for students? Okay. And the other one would be work sponsorship for those who are working. Some workplace, healthy environment, they do uh, motivate their employees to go and study during their work, and they would subsidize some amount of money. So these are the things you should determine. If you fall into the scholarship category, you are very lucky, because you don't have to be under any student loan. The only issue would be you would be bonded with the government or the private organization that is sponsoring you. Maybe there is some sort of things that you have to repay them, but it's not as, at least you have a funding that is secured. On the other hand, if you at all cannot find any scholarship, it is not a problem. There are many loans, especially our famous PTPTN loan. You can always take a PTPTN loan. But nowadays, what I heard is that PTPTN does not they do not fund the entire cost program. So please also look into that. Just make sure you're on the right track if you're taking a loan. And if you're paying with your own money, then life is very much easy. You work, income is coming in, you pay, you're not debt, to anyone. And if your parents are supporting you, then you're living a very comfortable life. I'd say it's very easy. You don't have to worry about the funding. All right. So, in a nutshell, okay, these are the things you will have to know. Like, where do you want to study? Okay, let's say you're going to do it in UMK. What program? You have to check back whether you want to do a master's program. And in master's program, do you want to do a research based or a non-research based? Okay, just make sure to find a supervisor if you're doing a research program, and secure a funding. Do not decide on your funding at the very last minute. When you're already going to enroll for your program, you must know, how am I going to get funded? Okay. So now I'll go into more details about things one must know when they are doing a postgraduate study, right? Before that, is everybody okay? Okay. Do you have any questions so far? Is everybody okay? Can you just type in one if you're okay and you're still with me? Okay. Thank you, Nor Ashira, Farah. Thank you, Larson. Okay, so I'll continue. Yeah. Okay. Um. Okay. So, what are the advantages of a postgraduate study? The most common one is it is a good kickstart for anybody who wants to be a lecturer, because you have to have a research base. If you want to be a lecturer, you need to have a master's and PhD. But nowadays, when you go through your job, you go through Job Street or you go through any universities that offer lecturers job, some universities do want industry experience as well, you know. So, but by doing postgraduate study, the first thing is always ticked. So you have, wide opportunity in the academic world. Okay. Next thing I would say is that studying is much more relaxing than the industry. So I'll just share my experience. When I was doing my master's, okay, I was working. So what happens is that I would work from 9 to 6, and then I've 1 hour from my workplace. I would rush to USM, okay, and in that 1 hour, I do everything. I eat, I drive to my workplace, and it's during the peak hour, right? So it's very stressful. And then you have classes from 7 to 10, and by the time you come back, you're totally knocked out, you're totally tired, you don't even want to do anything, all you want to do is sleep. Okay, this is because working life is tiring. On top of that, all the travel stress that you're experiencing, the other stress, the work stress and all that. So postgraduate study is very much relaxing. I won't say it's not stressful, but it is very much relaxing compared to working in the industry. Okay. And the next thing is that you have access to the entire university facilities. So, all the lounge, the healthcare, the hospital, everything is free for you. And you're always eligible for any student's benefit, When, sometimes they have this discount for students, when you buy books or when you go out to eat in, any fast food restaurants, as long as you're a student, you always have the benefit, right? And when you're a postgraduate student, you work under your own pace. When you're working in the industry, you have to work under someone's supervision, you have to work under some people. It's very pressuring. But when you're working as a postgraduate, especially as a research student, you're working on your own terms, you're working on your own pace. You only have to, make sure that your supervisor knows your progress, right? And you don't have to be stressed about somebody ordering you to do something. These things are not there. Okay. And through your postgraduate study, you're going to be reading a lot, tons and tons of reading, because to provide a good quality thesis, a good research paper, you have to do tons of reading. So when you do all these, you automatically improve your knowledge, your language confidence. Okay. And academia world, they have their own networking as well. It's not that, in only in industry you network with people, you see people, you talk. In academia world, they have this conference, when you publish a paper, you collaborate with people. So you always will, throughout the process, you will have new friends, you will meet new people with different backgrounds. So these are several advantages of doing a postgraduate study. Okay. So now coming to the right, coming to the possible issues during a postgraduate study. Okay, this is this is what I have experienced. This is what my postgraduate colleagues have experienced. So I would want to share this with you guys, because when I enrolled in a postgraduate study, these are some of the things that people never told me, that was quite shocking when I experienced it myself. Okay. So first thing is health issues. I have to highlight this because as a postgraduate student, all you have to do is sit in front of your computer. You're spending so much time doing your research, okay? And when you sit too much in front of the computer, you're sitting too long, way longer than you have to. You end up getting back pain, neck pain, you have eye pain. If you see most of the postgraduate students, they would wear spectacles. That is because the amount of time they've been spending in front of the computer. Okay. So health issue is one thing. Second is financial stability. Now, we are teenagers, and we have friends. Of course, your group of friends, not all of them is going to be doing their postgraduate study. Among five of your friends, you might be the only one doing postgraduate study. And these people, they are working, they have money coming in, they do everything that they want. But as a postgraduate student, you are dependent on a scholarship, you're dependent on a loan, you're dependent on your parents' money or your own self. You cannot spend like these people. You don't have a financial stability to buy a car or a house, which your friends are doing at your age. Okay. And at times you feel, sometimes you might feel a bit, some people get upset about it, but I would say, if at all you experience this situation, always know that everybody has got their own journey. The guy is working, okay, he's working, he's getting money, he's doing what he likes, okay. But you have a study that you need to finish, that will land you in a job that is better, and you will eventually, come to that financial stability. So don't just I would highly suggest, don't take it too personal, okay. Another thing is miscommunication with supervisor. This is something that I must elaborate I'll do it in my next slide. Okay. Another thing would be losing interest middle of postgraduate journey. So this postgraduate journey, whether you like it or not, the reality is that when you're doing, especially for a PhD student or a master's student who is going to do a research base, you are all alone. Okay. You don't, now when you guys are doing undergraduate study, you have assignments, you have group work, so you guys compete with each other, you communicate with each other, you have exams to do, so you know that everyone is with you. But it is not the same when you enter a postgraduate journey. You are on your own. And this personally happened to me. So what happened, I joined my PhD program, and the purpose of me joining my PhD program was completely wrong. I got the scholarship, okay? I got the scholarship to do my PhD. So I started doing the PhD for the sake of I was being paid. I had the scholarship. I don't have to pay back anything. The only thing is that I have to be bonded. So I went into the PhD journey for a wrong purpose, which is doing it for the sake of doing it. Now, what happens is that it was a bit, shaky in the beginning, and after my first year, I completely lost interest in PhD. I was asking myself, what am I even doing? This is something that I don't want to do. I don't like it. But why did I even get into this program? And you completely lost interest. You don't want to do anything about it. You don't you don't know how to, solve this problem. When you lose interest, nobody other than yourself can bring you back to this journey, because even if your supervisor keeps pushing you, if you're not interested to do it, you will never do it. Okay. Which is why I stressed earlier, do it for the right purpose. So now coming back, what happened was that I completely lost interest. My supervisor got worried. I didn't tell her much, but she knew that from the way I was communicating, I started, holding myself back. I was very slow. I was very, very slow. I didn't want to do much. For the first year and the second year, my progress report, every semester you have to update your progress report to the university. So what I did was, my only progress was collecting data, collecting literature, still doing the literature review, still finalizing the topic. I was completely lost. And one part of me, I cannot quit because JPA is sponsoring me. If I quit, I'm going to be in big trouble. I will have to pay them back the penalty. So in the end, I gathered myself, and what happened was I gained back the momentum. Okay, I gained back the momentum. So in PhD journey, there's two defense that you have to do first. First is your conceptual paper, where you present your topic just for the school to accept it. Okay, and then you have your proposal defense, which is a much thorough one that you have to defend your proposal. So I gained back my momentum somehow. I don't know how, but I did gain back my momentum, and I quickly finished. Last year December I finished my conceptual paper, and then 3 months later I quickly did my defense, and I've already finished my data analysis up to today. So I literally did 2 years of work in less than a year. you know. So momentum is very important. You will definitely, some of you, if you lose interest middle of the way, don't worry about it. You are not alone. Many people feel that. The only thing is you have to decide how you want to get back that momentum. Okay. Next is failing your defense. So this is one scary thing that you would never want to do. My only secret that I'll tell you is that if you're a master student, a research student, and a PhD student, and you're doing, your thesis, make sure you know what you're writing in your thesis, because when you go for a defense, okay, of course, whatever research that you do, you have to go for a defense. You have to propose, you have to let them know what is your topic about. There's going to be two examiners questioning you. So obviously you have to know what you've written in your thesis. If you do something, there are people nowadays, especially in the PhD level, where very elderly people come and do. I've seen people 60 plus doing their PhD, and the reality is that most of the job, because they have the money, okay, they do their work, but when it comes to data analysis and all, they're quite weak, so they hire people to do it for them. It is not a problem hiring people to do your work, but it is a problem when you don't know what the person you've hired has done to your thesis. Because when you're in your defense, and you're going to have two examiners shooting you questions for the next 3 hours, and you have no idea about your defense, high chances you are going to fail. Only a researcher knows best about his or her thesis. Okay, so this is something you must avoid. Never ever fail your defense. But if at all you fail your defense, it's not a bad thing. Many people have failed their defense. Just know you have to always come up back. Okay. Another thing is juggle between household chores and studies. Now that you're a master's student or a PhD student, you're doing your work from home. Okay, so you might probably be the first one to graduate a master's or PhD. Your parents might not have seen a PhD graduate in their family, nor the people around, so they don't know how PhD works. You know, you're studying in your computer, and you have to help your mom do the groceries, you have to help your parents do the cooking, many things, especially when you're studying from home. So this is one thing. Majority of my colleagues, my PhD colleagues, they cannot focus when they are at home, which is why they would rather, the foreigners especially, they would rather come back to Malaysia and do it in university. Because when they're at home, they cannot focus. They have to juggle between the family issues, the relationship issues, and their studies. Okay, so this is something that you must be aware of. Okay, so now the most interesting part, encountering a problem with your supervisor. This is, I would say, it has happened. Thankfully, I don't know whether you guys know Dr. Farihin or not. She was my supervisor during my undergraduate. She was super good, and I landed a good supervisor for my master's and my PhD program. So for those of you who may encounter a supervisor issue, okay, what are the common issues, especially for research students? Okay, like I said, your supervisor is your backbone of your research. If you don't have a proper guide, you're going to get lost in this journey. Okay? So the common issue is, first, supervisors sometimes impose their work on you. Let's say they have to publish papers, and they might send it to you. Hey, can you do this for me? Can you check? Can you write in a topic for me? So this is something that is not your work, but out of goodwills, you sometimes do it for them. You know, and if they're doing it too much, then that is an issue. Okay. Next thing would be supervisor who does not guide you or who is not approachable. Now, especially high ranking professors, okay, like someone with a professor or an associate professor, these people are very busy. And when you land a supervisor who is a professor or an associate professor, they would just give you I say the ranka, the, the skeleton. They just give you the skeleton, and they expect you to learn yourself. Okay, if you have this sort of supervisor in a fast track PhD program, you are in deep trouble. But if it's in master program, it's okay. You can learn slowly. But if at all you feel like your supervisor is not at all guiding you and you feel lost, you must take an action. Okay. Another thing is some of the supervisors, they would impose their topic or area of interest on you, which is why I told you earlier, before you find a supervisor, make sure you know what your area of interest is. Make sure you know what you want to do so that nobody pushes you to do the topic that you're not interested in. Okay. And the last one is supervisor leaving for a better opportunity. Okay, this is something very sad. It actually happened to one of my friends. Okay, so especially this is a common problem when you choose very young supervisors. Okay, not all. I'm not saying all supervisors are like that, but there are cases where what happened was my friend had this supervisor, and he's a very young. The supervisor is a very young person, and the supervisor was offered to go and teach in a different university in UK for a better opportunity. Of course, it is not the supervisor's mistake. They've been offered a better opportunity. It is their, it is for their life. So they rather move there. Now, when your supervisor is leaving, the problem is that your supervisor is leaving and you lost your backbone. So you're completely lost again. This really happened to someone I know. So, especially it was about 6 months away from his final defense. Okay, so he had a very hard time. Now, when you have all these issues with your supervisor, I would highly recommend, if at all, you can send some sort of uncomfortableness from your supervisor, or you are not uncomfortable, you cannot share, get a co-supervisor. It is not wrong. You can always write in and get a co-supervisor. Usually USM's policy is that for foreigners, if you're a foreign student, you're always recommended to get a co-supervisor. So luckily this guy had a co-supervisor, you know. Second is to speak to your administration for a change of supervisor. So you have to know that if you want to change a supervisor, it is not an easy progress. You have to go to the administration, to the school, you have to take in the form, you have to fill in, you need to, you need to write in the reason. Of course, your supervisor is going to be pissed, or maybe not, but these are the things that you will have to do if you want to change your supervisor, okay? Okay, now, so as a postgraduate study and over 6 years, 7 years, 5 years of doing it, okay, these are the things that you must have, or I highly recommend from my personal experience, okay. First, like I said, funding. Make sure you have the money to do your PhD program or your master's program. If you don't have, it's okay. Gather the money first, work first, save the money, and then you can always do your postgraduate study, okay. Second thing would be to have a personal workspace. As a PhD student or a master's student, you will always have to, you have to join webinars, you have to join, sometimes they have classes, right? So you don't want a place full of distraction, because you like now I have to have a personal workspace so that I can talk to you guys comfortably. This is very important, as a postgraduate student. And when you're doing your defense, especially, you don't want to be doing in a noisy area, right? Have a comfortable table and chair. Please do invest in one. If you're going to do a PhD program for 4 years, it is no harm investing a bit money on a comfortable table and chair. This is recommended by my orthopedic. Every time, even now for you guys, right? As an undergraduate student, you always spend a lot of time in front of the computer. Sorry. Okay, so if you spend a lot of time in front of the computer, make sure you always have your arms resting on your table so that you have a good posture. And when you are talking, when you're doing your computer work, make sure your shoulder and your head is always on the same level so that it does not affect your backbone. This is something very important. None of them told me when I wanted to enroll into a PhD program. So please take care of your health. Another thing is software. I'm not sure. The last time in 2017 in UMK when I was doing my thesis, so UMK was so good. They provided Turnitin accounts to the supervisor, and all you have to do is submit to your supervisor, right? But when you go for postgraduate study and you want to check your plagiarism, you will always have to send to the school, and the school will run the Turnitin test for you. the easiest solution here is get all your softwares for a cheaper rate, lifetime premium in Shopee or Lazada. I bought mine in Turnitin. I bought my Turnitin in Shopee or Lazada. Grammarly is extremely expensive. Share it with a number of friends. And then you can always download SPSS and other data analysis softwares from, the cracked version. Okay. Or I think if I'm not mistaken, UMK still provides SPSS. I'm not sure, but if they do, make sure you safeguard it for your future research. The other thing is time management. Like I said, if you're working, you're studying, you always need to make sure you have proper time management, have a calendar, write in whatever, things that you have to do in your calendar so that you don't miss it, because you sometimes, we get old, we forget things, right? Always have a harmonious relationship with your supervisor, be very respectful. These people, okay, if you're graduating today, never forget your supervisor, because they are the ones who have been guiding you. My experience, okay, your supervisor will actually choose who the examiners are as well. So be good to them. Don't be fakely good to them, but be genuinely good to them, and they'll do good for you. Okay. Hobbies, have something apart from your work and your study. Just sitting in front of the computer 8 hours plus, it is not going to help you mentally and physically, going to be very tired. Do something else apart from just studying and working. Everyone needs to have this. Okay. Another thing would be very important: support group with your classmates. So like I said, PhD is a very quiet journey. You must have some friends who are doing PhD with you, usually your classmates, so that they can share their experience when they go to a defense. What was it like? And you can share your experience of defense with them. The formatting of your thesis, how you're going to do this, how you're going to do that. You need the support group so that you're on the right track. Please also do have good internet connection. This is something you must have. Reliable gadgets, your laptop. I don't know how many times I've destroyed my keyboards and my mouse. So make sure you have good, reliable gadgets. Okay. Have an administrative friend. Like I said, you need to have an administrative friend, because when you submit your thesis, or when you want to do something, you want to change your supervisor, you want to submit your final draft, anything, it always goes through the school. So if you have someone there, that person is going to guide you on the right track. You'll know what to do, right? So you need to have an administrative friend. Most importantly, support from family and friends is important as well, because this is going to be a lonely journey. Without the support of them, you're going to feel very demotivated, right? Okay. So, like I said, time management is the key. If for those of you who've responded that you want to work and study, please make sure, be on time, respect people's time. If let's say you promise them to do something on time, do it within the given time frame. Do not waste anybody's time, because this keeps running and nobody can stop it. If you're working, like I said, make sure that your classes and your work is not on the same time. Okay. And you have to manage, apart from your work and your study, there are other things that you have to manage as well. So time management is key. Okay. So this was a quote from one of my gurus: whatever your goal in life, unless you develop a great urgency, what could be near will be far away. So if you want to do a postgraduate study and you're going to graduate soon, plan. Plan everything quickly. Always have a plan.
Report tu pun tak baca
Do
ke?
plan A and
Tunggu
do
habis kelas
plan
kan?
B, so that if plan A doesn't work, you always have plan B as a backup. So that you don't struggle and you don't freak
Kalau
out when
aku dah
something
buat
doesn't
benda-benda
go
CRI je ni,
in your way,
lepas tu
right?
semalam tak buat langsung benda hari tu
That is all
tukar
from
benda
me.
tu yang hari
Thank
ni.
you. And I've left my email for any of you who have any inquiries, and you have a long one, just email me. I've also attached the JPA scholarship blog that I have. So if you want to know more details about JPA scholarship, you can visit the link. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.